The politics. The Philippines had faced numerous trials and ordeals with regards to its government and the welfare of people. It has endured the Spanish, American, and Japanese governance. It has suffered through martial law. It had faced a huge number of costly acts, and it's gone through a lot of corruption. Aside from the mishaps of the governance, the Philippines had also experienced and still experiencing economic instability. Despite of all this, there may be a solution to the problems currently faced by the Philippines. The solution may be found in the book that dates back as far as the 4th century before Christ, the Arthashastra. The Arthashastra is believed to be the manual of how to control a state that is ruled by the king. It contained a variety of topics about management, more especially wealth management. Aside from that, the topics covered are somewhat modern and contemporary, although it was written in the 4th century. Through the years, it had stood up the ground as the oldest book of management. The Arthashastra is the book that can be still used to address the modern problems faced by the Philippines. This exposition of the knowledge that is known in the 4th century before Christ will aid the Philippines in its quest for good governance and economic stability. According to Arthashastra, good governance comes with peace and order which can be achieved through the collaboration of different factors in the community. The first of this factor is the leader. The leader is the one held responsible for everything that is happening in a community. In Indian society, the leader or the king plays a very important role as he one leading the nation and thus must have exhibit a lot of virtues. Because the Arthashatra's main goal is to maintain the welfare of people called yoga schema, the leader of the society must work for his goal. This goal must be the most important priority even against the leader's own needs, and this is what true service is all about. Considering this principle in the present day Philippines, all the kings from the barangay captains to the president must be dedicated in serving the people. These kings should exercise true service not because they will gain something from it personally, but because it is for the betterment of people. Aside from rendering service to the people, the king's deference to the law is the second factor. As said before, the king must be virtuous and must be an example to his people. As what stated in the first chapter of the Arthashastra, when the king is active, the servants become active following his example. If he is too remiss, they too become remiss along with him. So if the king look up to by the people, humbly follow rules and regulations, so will the people. Also, the king should be morally upright in every way. The Arthashastra provides various traits that describe a good leader and most of stresses on honesty and trustworthiness. Kautilya gave much emphasis on this issue as corruption ravaged the Indian society during his time. Even through the passage of time, corruption still remains up to the present society. According to the Hong Kong based political economic risk consultancy, the Philippines is the fourth most corrupt country in the Asia Pacific region. This is true alarming as the Philippines not only loses its budgets to private individuals, it also loses possible foreign investors. Now, if the president is part of this corruption in the country, what happened then to the goal of serving the people? Because of this, the Arthashatras invokes the people to have a king worthy enough to entrust the welfare of the nation. As said before, the king of the country not only mean the president but also the low-ranking officials such as the barangay captains. This king should exercise service for the betterment of the people. Because of this, these people are just as important as the president. Hence, they should also possess the qualities stated by the Arthashastra about the king. According to the article, Summary of Kautilya's Arthashastra, it is contemporary relevance since these officials are the ones responsible for the project's budget and details of work. There must be someone who will be scrutinizing every part of the official work, not just the expenses but also the output of the project. That will diminish questionable expenses or inefficient implementation of the project due to the official irresponsibility. In the Philippines, these officials are the ones from the Senate and Congress who are given pork barrel for project implementation. Pork. Pork barrels of the Congress were actually intended to avoid the biased priorities of the national government to rural areas. Because of this, every area is assured of budget for beneficial projects managed by these officials. However, because of the corruption, these congressmen do money saving tactics to gain kickbacks out of the budget, which produces substandard projects. Aside from this, there is also an issue with regard to the attendance in the Congress. Added to that is that the some of the congressmen are not even listening to the speeches given by their fellow congressmen. To remedy this, accountability and transparency is what Cautilla requires of these officials. Looking at the present Philippine situation, it is of the great dismay that most of them are not doing what they should be doing as they are elected to power. It would be seemed that they have forgotten why they are in the position. The Arthashastra also addresses the magistrates of their job. In the fourth chapter, it states that the magistrate should be impartial and decide on case, remaining neutral between the king and the subject. This means that they should be unbiased in every trial or case that they are handling, no matter who the people are involved. It reflects true justice, punishing the guilty and releasing the innocent, an ideal justice system where everyone is judged equally. The Philippines is indeed still every far of the ideal system. Take the Maguindanao massacre last 23 November 29, where more than 50 journalists and civilians were killed like animals because of politics. Up to now, no one has been convicted because the suspects are prominent in the area, if not the whole nation. Justice has not yet been achieved. Some cases lasted for decades like the Sir Cobrito double murder case and still no one has been convicted. Another factor in successful governance is the presence and accomplishments of projects that will improve the nation. In the Arthashastra, Kautilya presented concrete proposals that must be implemented properly. The most important of this is the prioritization of education. This because in any society, having a good number of human capital is necessary to let the economy run and improve. Another, Kautilya mentioned the requirement of extensive training of people in various fields which consulted to a good outcome in those times. As, past, as present, the people know how important education is. In the context of the Philippines, although awareness is there, problem on education still exists. According to the Institute of Statistics, only 29% of the total tertiary age Filipino are studying in college. Numerous news articles had been made regarding the lack of teachers and classroom in the country, especially in the rural areas. There have been problems in this area since the day we can remember, and yet they are still present. This just proves that the awareness of the problem is not enough to solve this. Action is what really needed. For a project to be concretized, proper deliberation must be first be done by all the officials to decide whether the project can cause good to the people and is worth the project allotment. Through this process, instant decision making is impossible, and everyone is given the assurance that the project have are passed for benefit of the society. In the Philippines, we are made to believe that the politicians are deliberating the projects. If it is true, we do hope that they are doing it properly. To assure the people of every official dedication to service, Kautilya says that the nation's stakeholder must be the ones to gather feedback on the administration's performance. Moreover, the leader should look after his subordinate official whether they were able to do their job or not. Through this feedback gathering, an evaluation is achieved in which it stands as a critic for administration. And should the administration take note of the critic, it will stand as the basis for improvement for the years to come. After the evaluation of every official based on the performance, this official should be subjected to either a promotion or a demotion. This followed the concept of punishment and reward. Following this concept is important because aspiring leaders who believe in true service will be encouraged more by the incentives. In the Indian society, during the time of Kautilya, punishment of every corrupt official must be done no matter how high their position are. On the contrary, if one performs well on his job as an official, the government will either make him permanent on his job or promote him. If this concept is to be implemented here in the Philippines, a huge number of positions will be subject to vacancy. Lastly, although Arthashatra's main goal and responsibility is the welfare of the people, Kautilya still includes rules in his treatise in maintenance of the environment and other living things. This is the due fact that the Indian society values all living things because of their belief. According to Arthashatra, there is a strong connection between good governance and the economy of the nation. As stated in the summary on Kautilya's Arthashatra, it is contemporary relevance. The end is the economic governance, while political governance is the means. It means that proper management and good governance has an effect on the economic aspect of the nation. The Arthashatra then serve as basic guidelines for proper management of economy of the country. Knowing how to manage resources, such as monetary funds, can contribute to the development of the economy. We said before that corruption is still present in the modern day society and in the Philippines. The Philippines had been affected by corruption because of lack of good governance. However, in order to lessen or eradicate corruption, certain principles must be followed in order to gain good governance, which had been stated in the previous section. And since the political governance is the means for economic governance, there is a need for good political governance. Kautilya explicitly states that adulteration of grains, oils, alkalis, salts, scents, and medicinal articles with similar articles of no quality shall be punished with a fine. The sale or mortgage of articles such as timber, iron, brilliant stone, ropes, sinska as superior, although they are really inferior, shall be punished with a fine. This clearly states that the piracy of the product should not be done and practitioners of said act should be dealt with accordingly. In addition, the need for products whose quality is trusted enough or better is because of the need for increasing and strengthening of trade with other nations. In addition to achieving this economic development, according to Arthashatra, is to ensure the good quality of the product, accompanied by reasonable rates, which would not only benefit the consumers but the producer as well. Another factor that has been given emphasis by the Arthashatra is agriculture. The importance of irrigation and providing amenities could be taken up on the priority basis. Systematic cropping patterns and irrigation system followed by Kautilya is what today's experts need to recognize. Kautilya also recognized organic farming because of its non-usage of chemical. Also, aside from this, it is also necessary to learn different agriculture process because it will help the production and storage sources that will be used by the people. In the case of the Philippines, agriculture is widely spread as our climate. It is perfect for farming and that the lands are extensive enough for farm use. Because of this, farming is considered as a very important sector and it is major part of the country's economic development. However, during the last few months, typhoons had been destroying various crops, which resulted in a massive loss of agriculture products. These had affected the farmers and the huge investments are being lost. This is one problem that the country constantly faces and it is essential to find ways on how can be solved. Better irrigation, improved farming processes, and preparedness for the such situation can be a big help in achieving this. Lastly, Kautilya expressed in the Arthashastra that a nation would benefit from trade if certain safeguards and policy measures are present, thus making certain that the trade policies of the country are implemented and not abusive for other parties would ensure the benefits of the nation when it comes to trading. This then promotes trust and well-being for both parties. With the elucidation by Kautilya in his book, The Arthashastra, about the condition of good governance, we insist that the government official take a look at the world's oldest book on management that contains modern day ideas of governance. Knowing that ideas had been around for hundreds of years and it can be applied to present day societies, puts us on a better perspective of how to possibly attain the sought after peace in government. With this knowledge, the way our country's good governance has been made clear.